every time we make these prepping videos, we always come to the fact that we're like, oh man, we forgot those. We should have mentioned those. So we're going to be talking about 10 things today that deal with not only, keeping and safekeeping of our money, safekeeping of our animals, but also some items that could help us when medicine shortages are upon us. So things that we could prep up to take care of our families. Those things are all happening. It's a war on our money, it's a war on our medicine, and it's a war on animals. So all those things are pretty much right in our peripherals, and we need to make sure that we are prepped up and ready to go. So today's video is going to be a good one. We're going to be talking about 10 things that you can stockpile or prep to have to help you with your cash, your animals, and also with your medicine. This video is going to be a good one. Let's jump right into it. It starts right now. First and foremost, we're going to be talking about 3 items that deal with your money and safety devices that could help you keep things safe, put things away, and also out of other people's reach. Now, here's what I mean by that. Number 1 would be a safe. Make sure you have a fireproof safe. Not fire resistant, not water resistant, but a fireproof, waterproof safe. This is good to have in our homes or in another location that can be trusted. It's okay to have a decoy safe. We have a decoy safe, and then we have a safe. So that's very important because there's some things in our decoy safe that if someone ever found, they would think that, hey, this is good, this is great, we're gonna have, we have just what we want. But it's actually just a decoy. Our main safe has what we keep more valuable things in. We're in a time where sometimes we can't trust banks, and nothing against banks, but we see there's a volatility with our money. Makes us say, you know what, we may need to put a little bit more investment in ourselves and in our homes, and maybe putting a safe in is a good thing. Put your precious metals in those, put your cash in those, put other special things in those, but having a safe is key. Having a decoy safe is just as important. Number 1, safe. Number 2 is a Faraday cage. Now this can be a Faraday pouch, a Faraday case, a Faraday bag, a Faraday room. These can be as economic as you want them to be or as expensive as you want them to be. What this is this is helping maybe an EMP situation, maybe this is helping a non-trackable situation. So if you want to keep your phone to where it can't be tracked, you can put in this Faraday case and you would be fine. That way you can go wherever you're needing to go and you're not getting any kind of reading on your phone. This also helps with electronics from getting hit in any way with the EMP or a solar flare. A lot of times we would put things in there that we were worried about. So say for instance we have solar generators or battery backups. If you have a big enough Faraday case, you could put some of those things in there, and that way if something ever happened and all of a sudden a grid went down, the solar flare hit and ruined a lot of people's stuff, you would have everything in your Faraday case pretty much safe and in working condition. You may want to put some low frequency radios in there. I mean, there's all kind of ways that you can do it. The way we look at it is a non-trackable way that we can put our phones in there, put our iPads in there, anything like that if we're going on trips. That way we're not getting pinged, no one knows where we're at, and that makes me happy. So Faraday case would be number 2. Number 3, and we have mentioned this, but I keep mentioning it because I want you to understand the value of it. But number 3 is a cache or a cache. A lot of people say it different ways, but it's a cache. What this is this is a way that you can hide your money. Now, it doesn't actually have to be something that you make. It doesn't have to be something that you buy. It could be one or the other. It could be a hidden safe that you have got out in the woods. But a cache is basically saying, I'm going to take some food, some funds, some precious metals, some ammo, some firearms, whatever it is that you're wanting to keep safe, and put it somewhere that it can be trusted, that can be buried, that can be hid, that can be put away for hard times. Now, if something ever happened and your home got hurt in some way, or you had to leave your home, a lot of times people look at bug out survival, so they'll have a bug out place and they'll have a cache buried there. So that would be good to have, where you could put money cache in there, precious metals, food of some sort, and usually caches are not that big. Most of them people make out of 4 or 6 or 8 inch pipe, cap them off, seal them up, make sure they're not water penetrable, and they bury them with those things in there. Now you need to make sure that you remember where you bury these things, But it may be something as simple as keeping some main necessities in there. It may be first aid kits. So having a cache is key. Hiding things sometimes is not a bad policy. We've said this before, do not put all your eggs in one basket. A cache is good to have. If you have a secondary little waterproof safe and you want to venture and use that, that's okay too. Just make sure it truly is waterproof, because the things that you're putting in here are valuable and you don't need them destroyed. You're basically putting a little time capsule in the ground with things that you could go back and get, and it is safe. Now let's jump to our health. Number 4 would be essential oils, having some essential oils. Now, if you don't know much about essential oils, especially in a pure form, they can be used for everything, from cleaning, for building antibacterial soaps and rubs, being healthy, such as cleansing our air and our atmosphere. I mean, the sky is the limit. Misty uses essential oils for everything, from natural perfumes that we mix with oils to build our soaps and lotions, also to put in our diffusers. It is a vital part of our health. People don't realize that. Pick up some essential oils. Now, if you're buying bulk, I mean, there's places like Bulk Apothecary that sells, monster size essential oils. We buy that because we're making so much soap and we're also using it in everyday life. But if you're simply saying, hey, I just want a small kit to get started, there's kits where you can buy, 10 to 15 to 20 oils together, very reasonable priced, and it goes from things like lavender that smells good, but it could go to citronella, such as keeping bugs off. It could go to lemongrass, such as cleaning. I mean, there's just the sky's the limit, as I said. Read about it, understand what needs a carrier oil, what needs to be put on your skin, what cannot be put on your skin. They make versions that are more safe for skin, such as kids. So make sure you're understanding essential oils, but it would be good to pick up, because when our medical system struggles and when we can't get medicine sometimes, it's good to have these essential oils. It could benefit us and keep our health and our immunity in a better place. Number 5 goes along with that too. It's homeopathy. Now, a lot of people, I could be one of those people too. Some people believe that homeopathy is just a crock, and it could be. I don't know. However, we have used some homeopathy that has worked really good for us. We also have went through the flu. We've used some of the homeopathic things and it's worked fine. So if you feel like it could be beneficial to you, at least having it than not having it is key. They're just like little remedies. It almost reminds you of essential oils, it reminds you of tinctures. It's just a more natural way of looking at medicine. Now, it's a love-hate relationship. I've seen people say, I believe in, homeopathic ways, and I've seen people say, oh, that's just sugar, it doesn't work. So do your studies on it, but it would be good to have them, because we are, again, looking at some medicine shortages. We are still buying tons of medicine from other countries. So having homeopathy and having a little kit, they sell in little small kits, just like the essential oil kits, would be good to have, just in case. If it's all you've got, then guess what? You would take it and you would hope that it would do well. So read up on it, look at the essential oils, but also look at homeopathic remedies, and look at some of the kits. It'd be very good to have. Number 6 would be a dehydrator. Now, the importance of a dehydrator, and we've talked about this in some of our old videos, how important our dehydrator is, because we are growing a lot of our herbs, we are growing a lot of our food that we can turn around and dehydrate, and so therefore you have off-grid food storage. It does not take away a lot of the minerals and nutrients in our food. So a dehydrator is key. You can pick up a dehydrator for $50, $60, $70, or you can spend $300 or $400 on them. Also, our first dehydrator we bought at a rummage sale for $1 because they just didn't realize what they had. A lot of people get things like this and then they're like, I'm never going to use it, let's just sell it. You can find them used that they probably are not even, they probably never been opened or never been used, because people just get excited about buying things like this and then never use them. But you can put your fruit in there, your herbs in there, you can even put meats in there if you get a good enough dehydrator. But it is key for us because we put up so much food by dehydration. Now that brings me to the next number, which is old glassware. So that would be number 7. If we are putting up dehydrated food, we'll take a coffee grinder or a mortar and pestle, or a small little hammer like you would tenderize meat with, and we would break those herbs or break that fruit or break those peppers or seasonings or whatever we have in the dehydrator up, and then put it in some old glassware. Now you can buy glass, new glass, but glass can be expensive. Everything that we store If we're canning, of course, we're using canning jars. But if we're storing if we're storing food, we're going to use glassware because we believe in it a little bit more in plastic. I don't want our food in plastic if we can help it. So anything like if we're dehydrating onions, if we're dehydrating peppers, if we're dehydrating herbs or medicinal herbs, if we're dehydrating elderberry, all those things, instead of putting them in plastic bags, we turn around and put them in old glassware. Either old mason jars that we can't use anymore for canning, maybe it's old barbecue glasses, maybe it's old jelly glasses. So this is something that you could do for free. You can literally keep your old glassware, utilize it for some of these things. Now, we are not talking about storing long-term or building tinctures or having it for kombucha. Things like that, you want the dark Auburn style glassware, and we'll talk about that in another video, because we're going to talk about tinctures. We're going to talk about how to make sure we put things up in glassware correctly. But if we're just talking about, hey, we need to store stuff and we don't want to use plastic, use old glassware. You can recycle it, use it for yourself, make sure it's clean, and you can be able to put anything and everything in it. For instance, we water glass eggs, and so we are using old pickle jars that we have gotten, that people have just given to us because they don't want to get rid of them, but they don't know what to do with them. So we use them to water glass our eggs. So we're repurposing glass. Old glassware is very good because you can use it for things like the dehydration, you can use it for water glassing eggs, or you can use it for any kind of storage, and it's better than plastic. Number 8, now we're growing our herbs. We've talked about this, but you need to be purchasing dried herbs. If you can't grow your own herbs, if you're not dehydrating your own herbs, at least start buying some holistic style herbs. So things like orange peel, because it's vitamin C and you can help build a nice concoction for your immune system. Maybe it's turmeric, because turmeric is excellent for your health. Maybe it's ginger, because it's very good for you. People don't realize how good cinnamon is for you. Oregano. All those things, like we talked about with essential oils, and like we've talked about by growing your own herbs, if you can't grow them, buying the more holistic, natural, or organic form of these herbs can benefit your health. You can utilize them almost as medicines or immune boosting or health benefits to your body. Number 9 too, if you're raising animals, it's good to have some backup fencing needs. So we keep extra T-posts, we keep extra barbed wire, we keep extra polywire fencing, we keep extra everything. The purpose of this is that way you're not always running to the hardware store, you're not always running to the feed store, you're not always running to the co-op if all of a sudden you need to mend fence. Maybe you need to mend a piece of polywire. Things like that happen because all of a sudden animals may not be crazy, but there may be something that tries to get them and then runs them straight through a fence. Cows and sheep are pretty docile animals. Pigs can be docile and they can be wild. But for instance, we had pigs. We had a pig the other day go through and hit one of our gates, and he just kind of raised it up with his snout. Now he didn't hurt anything, but what he did, he bent the pin that actually holds the gate. So by having some of those extra things that I needed, I could fix it. Now this goes along with people who don't have animals. Say for instance you have extra tools that you're working in your yard with. If you have 1 shovel, you need to have 2 shovels. If you have 1 rake, you need to have 2 rakes. You don't realize how important some of those garden tools will be if all of a sudden we get in a situation where we can't get as much food from a typical grocer, and all of a sudden we have to see people start growing food again. Those tools are going to leave pretty quickly. So where I would say make sure you have good animal tools, things that you can repair fence with, things that you can repair different parts of your farm with. I would also go back and say you need to have extra tools to make sure that you're taking care of your family. If you're used to fixing a PVC pipe, you don't need to have to go get another 2-inch or 1-inch PVC pipe next week. You need to be able to have your elbows, you need to have your 90s, you need to have the 1 or 2-inch line pieces that you need, especially in winter, because if all of a sudden your pipes bust, you need to know how to fix it, but you need to have the extra supplies to fix it because you may not can go to town. Same with electrical. If you run 10-2 or 12-2 or you have all these lines running, if you have some excess line, it's good. For instance, our well, we've had the most problem with our well lines in our ground, just from moisture and it going out. So we keep an extra well line just for safety. Now, I'm no electrician, but I do know I can at least run this well line if I ever had to. So you see, it's all about making sure you have the extra necessities of things that deal with your home. Not really with us, but with our home. If it's farming and homesteading, it's going to be dealing with your animals a lot more and fencing and the needs of security for them. If it's the fact that you just live in suburbia or you live in the city, it may be, hey, let's make sure we have enough to fix a water leak, fix something on our vehicle, fix a plug, take the lights out, change this out. It's very simple, making sure you have the extra necessities to fulfill the home needs that you have. Lastly is number 10. Don't throw away food, and don't throw away goods that you can use for fertilizer. So this would be two-part number 10. We have buckets inside our home. One is what we call our pig bucket, which means all food that can't be used for anything else and that we have already ate. If it's leftovers, if it's food that we just scrape it off our plates, all food does not go in trash. It goes into the pig bucket. That helps us feed our animals. If you don't have pigs, build a food bucket, because you'd be surprised how many farmers would love for you to help them complement their feed bill with your food bucket. It doesn't cost you anything to have a $5 food grade bucket to then pull your food in and call the local farmer that has chickens or has pigs, and they say, hey, yes, I would love to have that. It's a good relationship builder to where then you could turn around and maybe reap some benefits from the farmer yourself. Now, that's one part. Second part is we have a bucket that deals with compost. You have to learn to compost. Fertilizers and the cost of fertilization for anything that we're growing has skyrocketed. Now, say you just like to grow flowers. That's okay. Say you like to grow herbs. That's okay. If you like to grow gardens, that's okay. Compost is good for all of those things. So putting things like our browns and greens, old lettuces, or simple newspaper, simple cardboard, other things like that can help us build a composting system to then turn around and utilize. By doing the food waste and the compost waste, you are now taking a monster chunk from having to put in the trash. Now, are we still throwing away things such as plastics and stuff that you can't utilize in one of those? Yes. But think how awesome it would be to be able to say, I've got compost going, food recycling going, and I'm keeping all my glassware. You are doing amazing things without you even thinking about it. It's all about making sure you're recycling and reusing as much as you can. That is key, and that is what makes us good at prepping and taking care of our families, our farms, our neighbors. It's just good for us as well. Less waste, less junk, and making sure you can turn around and utilize every aspect, even your trash. Could be good. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you get a lot of our content. Let us know what you think about these videos and tell us what you would like to see next. And I always look forward to reading your comments. Again, if you're new to our channel, please go down here, press subscribe, ring the bell. It does mean a lot to us. Also, as we get close to 200,000, we're going to be giving thousands of dollars of merch and supplies away that could help you. It costs nothing. All it does is cost you just to subscribe. So once you subscribe, we'll be having a video about that as it gets close to 200,000, and we're going to be giving away a lot of good things. So guys, please subscribe, share this video, and we hope that you have a wonderful Christmas season this year. God bless. Happy homesteading, y'all.